This message is to the Oath Keepers. You disgust me. That you would attempt to play up the fate of a newborn for free publicity is shameful and repulsive. To those of you who are not aware of who the Oath Keepers are, there's some no-name group on the internet that has constitutional views. Whoopee freaking do. The problem is that not enough people know about them, and they want to become big like the Tea Party too. So they've been manufacturing a story in New Hampshire and blowing it out of all proportion until you can no longer recognize up from down. There's a man named Jonathan Irish. His wife, a fellow drug addict I might add, and they're both on welfare, had another baby in the hospital. And the police and CPS workers came and took that baby away from them because they felt that the parents would be a danger to the child. One of the reasons listed was that Jonathan Irish had an association with the Oath Keepers. And the Oath Keepers took that association, and they've been running all over the internet screaming to everyone who will listen that the government took their baby away because he was an Oath Keeper. Yes, that's right. The government moved in and took their baby because they were an Oath Keeper. I was not born yesterday. And let me tell you something. The Oath Keepers have made it extremely difficult to hear a rational perspective. Some facts in this case are that the files on this whole ordeal are sealed. Somehow they managed to get this one affidavit, and they've been waving it around. But the other charges against the family, well, we don't know, because of privacy laws concerning the newborn. I have an idea, Mr. Irish. If you would like my support in helping you to get your baby back from CPS, why don't you come out and list all of the charges against you when you were a juvenile, of which you have many charges, and list the charges against you now as an adult. Lay out your entire case so that all of us can pass judgment on you and decide whether you are worthy of our support. But he won't do that, because if he did, everyone would know immediately that this man is not worth the air he breathes. Low-life scum that you are. Let me see if I can explain how the Oath Keepers are trying to now paraphrase this, because they are trying to backpedal as they find out more about Jonathan Irish, and they've moved to say that this is a First Amendment issue. It's not a First Amendment issue. What has happened is that CPS has gone to the judge and they said, look, Jonathan Irish has had many gun violations, he's had run-ins with law enforcement dealing with gun issues, he's made fake phone calls claiming that there was someone in his house trying to kill him, causing the police to expend significant resources to chase this phantom killer. At any rate, the point is that the Oath Keepers, he is not a member, he's just an associate who chats away on the message board. The problem is that CPS is trying to demonstrate that he has his own little fantasies, of which the Oath Keepers play into. And that is why they listed them. That's why they mentioned the Oath Keepers. Not because CPS thinks the Oath Keepers are bad or evil, not because the federal government is trying to use the CPS workers of New Hampshire to instill fear in Oath Keepers membership, but because Jonathan Irish is a threat to his own newborn child. Now, if the only reason that CPS listed was that he was an Oath Keeper, then I wouldn't be having this discussion today. I would be saying something in support of the Oath Keepers. But to anyone who does their due diligence, it's fairly obvious to see that this is an extremely troubled family. They've already had 2 children removed. This girl is not even yet divorced from her prior husband. They have so many issues. These are the type of people that you hear beating their children, and you pull down your window shades and you turn up your TV and you try not to hear it. These are the type of people that most of us don't want to deal with. So I commend the CPS workers of New Hampshire for the work they do. Having to go into these type of situations and deal with these types of nightmares is something that you couldn't pay me to do. We should all have a little bit more respect for the social workers in our local communities. Sometimes they do make mistakes. Sometimes there is drama. But for children who have no one else, for children who are abused, beaten, sexually molested, for these children, CPS is the last line of defense. And before you infringe their good name, you're gonna have to get through me first.